Thank you for having us again tonight. My name is Irene McSweeney. I recognize many of the faces here. I'm not asking for extended hours or anything. We will keep our sewer system flowing. So with me tonight is John Folsham. He's going to be the project superintendent from D'Alessandro Corp. I told you we would come back with our contractor once it was bid and awarded. And Sean Canty, whispering in Nicole's ear over here. What's he whispering?
I can't stand sushi. That's what
is with our intergovernmental public relations department. So if you have other questions relative to commission programs other than the improvements that we're going to be doing in your neighborhood, Sean is available to discuss those as well. So just as a little background for those of you who have not seen any of my presentations in the past, there had been an outcry of the residents of the North End about concerns with rodent activity, sewer systems. So the commission took that very seriously. In 2006 and 2011, we did 2 programs of television inspection. We can actually access most of our system underground with remote controlled TV inspections. We went into the entire system and we compiled a program to start updating our system. It's going to be a 3-phase project. This is the last phase. These are the most difficult streets, or those streets where Public Works has recently paved them and we have to wait for them to be done. So phase 2 and phase 3 may be eventually combined into one project. Previously, we had handed out a listing of all the streets that will be impacted. But tonight I want to specifically talk about phase 1. Phase 1 encompasses mostly lining processes. And in a minute I'll explain what those processes entail. But when we come to any section of the city, we also look at whether your water systems need improvements as well. So we do have some water work improvements. Some of them are on North Bennett Street and Hanover Street. Those are probably the 2 major streets that will be impacted as part of this work. We will be doing everything actually in phases with this project as well. When we were in our developmental stages, we came and identified that we would not work during the major festivals in the summertime on the peak streets. We would try to work through the winter, weather dependent. So some of these processes we can do very well in the winter time. So we will be starting on Cops Hill. We have been working with the gas company. They'll be coming in on a few locations ahead of us. They're actually up there right now trying to determine how they can move a section of their gas main so we can get down to our sewer. That's the unfortunate part, is the sewer system is generally the deepest in the ground, and so in order to get there it takes the longest to repair or replace. So in order to tell you better what we're doing, we have some locations where we will be doing excavation work, which is like these photos on the bottom here depict. We did go to Salem Street. It looks like most of my friends from Salem Street have left, but we did do successfully, thank you, a project on Salem Street a couple of years ago. It was actually John's company that did that work. I think we worked very cooperatively with the businesses and the residents. We came in generally at 8 a.m. in the morning and we were off the street by 4, trying to get the peak of our work done during your non-busy times. And then the restaurants obviously are very interested in us being off the street by 4 so they can be open for dinner each night of the week. So that is generally our plan for any of the excavation work. On the 2 streets where we are doing the water mains, obviously that can't be done in the winter time. So unfortunately parts of Hanover Street we will have to start up in April, which is when generally the snow has melted and the weather is warm enough so our pipes don't freeze. We'll be going out to Hanover Street to perform a lot of the work there. The good news, any of the locations in the handout where it tells you that we're going to be doing lining work, this is a very easy process. This graphic in the middle is actually a setup of a system that is how we actually line a sewer pipe. It's actually on the front of your handout as well. If you didn't get a handout, we have more. This liner actually is introduced into the circular covers in the middle of the roadway. So on your walk home tonight, you can do a little investigation and see where there are manholes near your home. Those will be access points into our sewer system. This very flexible liner is installed inside of that pipe, and you can see it can be maneuvered to whatever shape we need it to be. Some of the sewers are actually oval shaped, like an egg, so we can actually push this through the pipe and make it oval. If the pipe is circular, we can make it circular. You might say, well, if it's square, can you make it square? Well, technically we could. However, if you want a little engineering knowledge tonight, a square pipe is not very structurally sound. It actually needs to have thicker walls. Kind of like a house, you have to have columns and beams to support it. So we don't want that in a pipe. So we want it either to be circular or oval. So we do have some square pipes in the north end. Unfortunately for you, those have to be excavated because we can't do this unique process of lining the pipe. So this liner goes in. The setup is about 3 pieces of equipment. We bypass this mainline sewer around the part that's being lined, because if you think about this going all the way down the pipe, your service actually comes into the side of the pipe today with a little hole that's in the mainline pipe. That's where your flow gets into the big pipe. So when this comes through, it actually blocks your service. But you do have some storage in your lateral. So when you do get a notice, if you're in the scope of the work, we ask you to reduce your water flow. So that's not the day we need you to do your 3 loads of laundry and 4 loads of dishes. We ask you not to do those services on those days, but you can still flush your toilet. We ask you to take a shower maybe the night before if we're doing the process the following day. If you still need to take a shower, you can take a shower, but we ask you to reduce your water usage. So the liner comes in, and then how do we get this to be a good structural pipe inside of the pipe? Well, the contractor either uses steam or very hot water, about 180 degrees, and he actually cooks it. It's like putting it in your oven. When you put a cake in the oven, it goes in nice soppy and sloppy. When it comes out, it's nice firm cake. So it actually takes a chemical change in the properties of the pipe. And when the pipe is done, it comes out looking like this. So when after it cools down, that chemical reaction of the chemicals inside the liner actually hardens, and it's like putting a brand new excavated pipe inside the system, but without the excavation. So generally we can line about 300 feet in any one shift. That shift can take anywhere from 8 hours to about 36 hours. So the bigger the diameter of the pipe, just like the bigger the cake in the oven, the longer it takes to cook. So for some of those systems, we actually have to work through the night, but the process is set up during the daytime so that all of the noisy equipment is generally off the site overnight. They're just cooking, the oven's on, but it doesn't have a lot of noise. Once that process is finished, then the contractor comes back in the morning, and with his TV camera equipment, he actually goes inside the pipe, and where your lateral is tied in, he actually takes a drill and he drills the service back open, and your service is alive again. So that's generally what most of the project is going to be. So if you see on the street, notices are coming out, the commission will send a notice generally 2 weeks ahead of time. Then if we're doing the lining process, we give you 2 more notices, 1 a week ahead, just so that you can schedule your work and your kitchen and your processes. And then another one usually the day before. Sometimes the contractor is 48 or 24 hours ahead, because where these systems in the north end are generally combined, which means all the storm water from the heavens and your sanitary flow, they mix in one pipe. So we can't hold back the volume of water from a rainstorm and pump that around our system. So it's weather dependent. So if there's a storm coming, like there was last night, that was proposed that it was going to have a lot of rainfall. I was actually supposed to be putting a liner in South Boston. We canceled it. So you'll get a cancellation notice and then a re-notice if we have to delay the process. But we look far enough and ahead that generally we don't have too many cancellations. So what are the benefits? The benefits are we're sealing our pipes. This will help minimize the number of rodents that actually live in our system. Part of the requirement from the City of Boston, in all of our contracts, we do rodent control programs. John's crew is coming out again tomorrow to bait some more streets. We do that 30 days in advance of any work that we do on any one street. Those are then investigated. If the rodents have been eating the bait, they rebait the systems, and we continue to bait the whole north end basically until we're done with the project. We're going to be starting our first street the first week in November. We'll work into probably January, February. If it gets too much snow, we'll have to shut down, and we'll come back in April. And then we hope to be done next November. But once we have the schedule, we do have our website, which is listed on our handout, bwsc.org. We will have the locations are on our website. You can go in and see what percentage we're at. We can also list the schedule. We provided it the other day to your email experts here, and if you're on their list, they can forward our schedule to you. If you have anything major coming up, family event, or my dad's 93rd birthday was the other night, so that was a major event for us. I had all my family in town, and if you have something big coming up, we can work around you, pushing the schedule around. We have plenty of work to go in different places. We also obviously impact traffic. A lot of the streets in the north end are very narrow. Generally, our sewer manholes are right down the middle of the street. So on some of the streets, we won't be able to maintain through traffic. You'll always be able to get on either end of your street to park. We have Boston police officers there to facilitate that. We will have some detours that need to be put in place, but that'll be well signed. And we apologize for the inconvenience, but I know that everyone in the area has been really concerned about us getting in here to improve our system. So unfortunately, there are a few inconveniences that we have to endure. If you do have any questions, I do have an engineer, Bang Nugent. His contact information is also on the second page. We ask that you contact us directly, because if you call City Hall to issue your complaint, it'll end up with Nikki, and then Nikki emails it to me, and then I email it to John. And instead, if you just come out the front door and speak with John or the crew that's out on the street, they're very responsive contractor. They've been at the commission since, I think, 1990 was their first job with the commission. They've probably done almost $750 million for the commission. So they're well known. They know how to do the work. They're very respectful gentlemen on the crews. If you do have any problems with any of them, you come directly to me, and I will address those issues immediately. Yes, ma'am.
I do have to say that you guys did it on 7th Street. They were very accommodating. They did have at either end of the street, especially on Cross Street, that you couldn't get through, but we're able to move with the cops that you need. So,
we try our best. We can't say we're perfect, but we do try.
No, we're very good.
Any other questions?
No other questions? Okay.
I do. I have a quick question. I live at 88 Prince Street, and I notice Prince Street is not on here. Does that mean the pipes under the ground are okay? Did you check all the pipes in the north end?
We've CV'd all the pipes in the north end. I know we did the Prince Street water main a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Let me just check to make sure you're not in one of our other phases for sewer work. Yeah, and we have a little bit of work on the end near Hanover Street in phase 3.
I'm near Salem, actually, almost near Salem.
At the other end of Salem, we don't have anything noted right now. This is phase 2.
I think that Prince Street was that.
So we'll be coming to do a little bit of work in Prince Street, but not right now. The only water work near Prince Street is actually at the intersection with Hanover.
Oh, that's the other.
So you may end up being in a one-day shutdown.
Yeah.
What we do when we do connect-in pipes in an intersection, we need to go one valve behind it to get the water shut off. So you may be an impact. And we generally do 48-hour notice for any water interruption service.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Irene.
Okay, thank you for having us.